All right, Jeff Zimmerman here. I'm with Iceman John Scully, the trainer of one of the pound for pound stars in all of boxing, Artur Beterbiev. He's got a huge rematch coming up February 22nd as part of Riyadh season against Dmitry Bivol. How you doing, John?
Everything's great. Let me just clarify. Like Mark Ramsey's the head trainer.
Yeah,
I'm the assistant trainer.
there you go. Yes, yes. I actually have one of the trainers, but yeah, Mark Ramsey is the head trainer.
Right.
And I should say former world title contender
Yes.
as well, John Scully.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how's it going, John?
Good. Everything's really good. I just got back from the gym about an hour ago, so just in for the night, and everything's going great.
Listen, man, boxing is on fire right now.
Yeah.
And I would say the light heavyweight division is on fire. Hasn't been like this in a long time. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, to have these guys fight and then fight again a few months later is special. I don't know if people realize how special this actually is. You know what I mean? Like when the rematch got called, Mark called me and said, "All right, well, it looks like we're going to be going in February." And I thought he meant against somebody else, like a smaller fight. And for like 2 weeks, he assumed I knew. And then I read it on the internet and I called, I go, "Hey, you didn't tell me it was Bivol. I just thought it was a regular fight." He goes, "No, no, we're doing a rematch," which is, I was shocked. I didn't, back in the old days, rematches happened right away. You fought him in a return match. Nowadays, it's like pulling teeth. So you got to give both of these guys credit for taking this tough of a fight, this big of a fight right away.
Yeah, it's hard enough to get one fight, let alone
Yeah,
two.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and when I look back, I was like, wow, it was just October they fought the first fight. I
That's
mean,
insane. Yeah,
yeah.
amazing.
That's insane. And before we get into the fight, that your big fight, I wanted to talk about this last weekend because you had two guys in David Morrell and David Benavidez who have now, are trying to lay their stake in light heavyweight, and they
Right.
put on a hell of a fight. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
I didn't get to see the whole thing, just the clips. Yeah.
Okay. And for David Benavidez, who's been chasing Canelo for the last few years, to then take on a left-handed Cuban fighter with some pop,
Yeah.
you don't see that every day. What were your thoughts just for them to even fight?
Well, that's the thing. When I heard they were fighting each other, I was extremely surprised. I didn't think, especially like Morrell with, he had 10 fights or whatever he had, to take that big of a jump. And I guess back in the old days, you had guys like Marlon Starling and Donald Curry. They fought each other in non world title fights. Um, but now we don't see that very often. But to see two young guys like this, and they, it was for a interim WBA title, but
Right,
no disrespect for them, but they're not the light heavyweight champion. David is
right.
not the light heavyweight champion. I don't count that at all. But to fight a guy like Morrell when he didn't have to is a huge. I give him all the credit in the world for that.
Yeah, a lot of people were calling it a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was 50-50.
And
Yeah.
I remember talking to Roy Jones about it, and he said even though, to your point, Morel only had like 10 to 12 fights, his amateur experience alone would make him like 25-0 in the US. So
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, for
it,
sure.
it's a different world. But yeah, it was a hell of a fight. And the way, David just came on and,
Yeah.
took the fight to Morel, who was standing right there with them. You'll have to watch it when you get some time.
Right, right, yeah, for sure. No, the clips I had seen was typical. Like David, you know what he's about. You know how he fights, and yeah, he brings it. I mean, you got to give him credit. You're gonna get your money's worth watching him.
Yeah, so let's talk about your fight coming up, John. So as you mentioned, February, not just real, here in a couple of weeks. Um, the first fight though was a hell of a fight,
Yeah,
and it was super close. There was a lot of people that even thought Bivol won the fight.
Right.
What was your thoughts? What was your takeaway from it when you guys were in the ring waiting for that decision? Did you feel like you had the fight in the bag, or
No, no, it was close. It was super close. I wasn't sure. I thought on the like I put it this way, on the grand scheme of things, seeing how it played out, I was happy with how we finished so strongly and all that. And when I got in the ring, I could see Bivol, the whole left side of his face was really discolored. Like, and I was happy about that. But knowing how boxing is and the judging and the politics, I said, man, it's very rarely it's crazy to say, but it's very rarely how you think it's going to be. Like when a fight is over and you go, oh, it was obviously 10 rounds to 2. Well, the judges aren't going to have it like that. It's going to be different when one way or the other. I thought that it was a really close fight, and you could see why you could give both guys credit. But I thought in terms of a professional fight and a 12-round fight and a fight for the undisputed title, I clearly see why we won it, because at the end of the fight, Bivol was moving, but it got to the point where I even said to myself, like around the 11th round, I was like, "Come on, man! Like you're trying to win the undisputed title here. Like I wanted him to slow down so Artur could catch him, but I was like, man, like you're not gonna win on your bike moving constantly, And I think the judges obviously saw it that way as well.
yeah, Artur was clearly the aggressor.
Yeah.
Bivol was boxed very well early, but he definitely wanted to stay away. But to your point, it looks like the damage was through the gloves.
And well, that shows you how hard Arthur's hitting in there. And I saw they went to the press conference a few weeks ago, and none of us went, just Arthur and he went. And you could see in the pictures that the eye was discolored, like almost like it was still discolored from October, which isn't unreasonable when you get that kind of damage. So either way, it's either the same injury or he's been damaged again. But that shows a susceptibility there, which obviously we're going to exploit.
Yeah, so going into this fight, John, to your point, exploit something like that. Do you guys change a game plan going into a rematch, or I mean, he's kind of, he's 40 years old now. Is it kind of like this is who he is and this is
Yeah.
what he does?
No, I mean, without going into the details, yeah, we definitely would change our approach. And I would say adjustments. Both teams need to make adjustments. Maybe not huge adjustments, but you can't just go in the same exact way. And that's what's important, about having a trainer, having a team. Like you have to watch the tapes and you have to see what could be done and what could be done better and how to nullify certain things. And I felt right from the beginning, there's two things that I really, and I'm not just saying it because I'm on his team, but two things that I really believe are in our favor. One is the quick turnaround. I think that definitely absolutely favors us. And Arthur's history shows that. But the other thing is, and I thought this from the beginning, it would seem to me we have more that we could adjust and be successful than Bivol does. Because, in the grand scheme of things, he can't fight with her. He can't say, okay, this time I'm going to go toe to toe. He can't do that. We know he can't do that. And he doesn't want to do that. I know he doesn't want to do that. But he can't box more because then it'll look like he doesn't want to fight. You know what I mean? So he's going to have to blend some of that together. And either way, to win, he's going to have to make himself a little more susceptible, which is obviously in our favor. So that's where I stand on that.
And how is Archer doing? Because, again, 40 years old, he's had injury issues in the past. And now, like you said, the quick turnaround, maybe that's to his advantage.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, we came off the last fight. He had just gotten surgery done on his knee, on a meniscus, which I hadn't even thought about till actually relatively recently. But I'm sure that was on his mind. But for this fight, he's I guess, like even with his strength coach is saying the difference is night and day between last fight and this fight. He can do so much more like he normally does. So, and I think different things that we've worked on that he was responding to, I would say I feel very happy about.
Yeah, yeah. And again, Riyadh season, February 22nd. You know, again, these fights aren't happening, but Turkey just seems to wave his magic wand and, you
Right.
know,
Oh, he's a monster, man. He's good. I mean, I agree pretty much everything I've seen him like in terms of his ideas and his proposals. I'm into it. Everything he said, if he wants to take over boxing, I'm okay with it right now. Yeah.
yeah.
You see, he just got Ring Magazine uh, back on the newsstands. I mean, that's awesome. That's
And we're
unbelievable.
going to talk about the one you had signed here in a minute
Oh yeah,
too.
you know about that. Yeah,
With
yeah,
what,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest question people have about it is it sustainable, what he's doing? Not so much the money, but if he doesn't make money,
Yeah.
is he going to just keep throwing money at it?
I mean, it's a crazy thing, but I feel like he has so much money. I don't think he cares.
Hmm.
Like, it'd be like me, playing, risking pennies, and I lost another 2 cents today. What am I gonna do? You know
Right.
what I mean? It's just I don't think he would mind. And he's obviously getting, like how many people? A lot of people probably never even heard of Riyadh before. Now they're going over there to watch fights, and they're finding out it's actually a really cool place. I really enjoyed it being over there. I liked it. It was pretty cool. So I think it's a win-win for him in that regard. And but like I say, him bringing back Ring Magazine is awesome. Him, with the level of fights he's having over there, high quality arena. The arena is awesome. The fights are awesome. The aura is awesome. I mean, it's a very positive thing.
Yeah, he's obviously a super fan,
Right.
so
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
that is obvious. So if all goes well, John, February 22nd, Benavidez is for all intents and purposes, the mandatory to the winner. So, I mean, that fight seems like that Benavidez and Artur would be fireworks.
Yeah. 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 Well, it would be almost guaranteed because unless he switched, which I don't think he would, Benavidez, his whole MO is come forward, come forward. I'm coming forward. And the thing about Arthur is I think a lot of people subconsciously, and even me in the beginning, I'm thinking of Arthur as this come forward, Mr. T, Clubber Lang destroyer, right? But if you watch him, he's not. He's very technical. He's taking his time. He's almost a little too technical sometimes.
Mm.
You wish he would just let it go. But when he does, he's destructive. I think obviously Arthur is a better technician than Benavidez, but Benavidez coming, forcing Arthur to fight. I think Arthur would enjoy that. I think he would welcome somebody kind of like when with Joe Smith on that mentality level. I think Arthur would welcome that, and especially if he was catching Arthur, I think Arthur would respond favorably. Anytime he's been hit, he's woken up. He's got the job done. Like, oh, it's almost like hitting Arthur is a mistake. You know what I mean? Because you're waking up the bear. And
Mm.
the 2 times that he went down in his career, he knocked the guys out like immediately after. So I don't want to look too far ahead, obviously, but it's obvious that fight would be fireworks for sure.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And let's that would be one hell of a fight. Let me switch gears with you. The fact that and you're a historian of boxing. I know that long history. You do so much for the boxing community. And I love your little post like, if you don't know who this is, then you don't know boxing, or who is this in this,
Yeah,
picture
yeah. So
from nine.
the fact that you don't know who this is,
Right.
because I already know you're not going to know. I
Right.
say the fact that this guy is not known is wrong. Is wrong, wrong, wrong. You should know these guys. Yeah.
Right. Canelo seemingly ducking Benavidez. I mean, that's kind of what the word on the street is, right?
I think I was surprised because whenever people say that, oh, he's afraid, he's ducking. I was you don't understand, the mentality of the business. But then I was reading the quotes and seeing what Canelo, excuse me, I was seeing what Canelo was saying about Benavidez, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm crazy or what, but he sounds kind of, I don't know if scared is the word, but he sounds kind of realistic. He's kind of like saying, hey, the guy's too big, the guy's too strong, he throws too many punches, without actually directly saying it.
Yeah. I think it definitely became personal. I did ask David's dad, Jose Benavidez, before the fight about Canelo, and of course, they don't want to keep talking about him, and he's given up on him. But then I said, with Turkey in the mix, maybe things change, and so,
Right.
but yeah, it's kind of crazy. But David going to 175, maybe that puts an end to it. Who knows, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, I think now the tide is obviously going to shift towards the winner of our fight.
Right, right.